My personality is like a tequila. It's like, it's not everybody's flavor, you know? It's harsh for some and great for others. I sort of lost my soul for, over the course of the next, 7 years, just making these hired gun movies that I had no real connection to. Him was like my drunk dad and Pepe Le Pew kind of, morphed together,
Welcome to Talent Freaks. I'm Andy, a filmmaker and photographer based in the Bay Area of California. And today's guest is Jose Montesinos, a director and writer whose career spans cult favorite indie shorts, professional features for Asylum Studios and Lifetime productions. This is his round trip on Talent Freaks. We had a conversation back in 2008, and his professional journey has taken him on a nice ride. So I'm glad he agreed to join me for this episode. Now, Jose brings humor, heart, and unique style to every project, whether it's a quirky passion project like Deadly Finger or a creature feature made for TV. But what draws me most are his personal films, offbeat, creative, and always full of energy and soul. If you want to hear stories from someone who truly lives and breathes filmmaking on every level, don't miss this episode. But before we jump in, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, so you'll catch more stories from the front lines of creativity, just like Jose's. All right, let's meet the one and only Jose Montesinos. Thank you, Jose, for joining me, coming all the way up here and also coming to Santa Clara, but coming to San Jose and doing this. I'm really grateful for you being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is we did a podcast, what was that, 2006 together?
I thought it said 7 or 8. Yeah.
I don't even remember.
The clip you sent me, I think it said 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was interesting when I reached out to you about that, and it said, like, what headshot would you like me to use? And you're like, we did a podcast together, and you couldn't remember it. And I'm starting to get that from other people who did it too. And trust me, it's not a special thing. So I'm grateful that you listened to it and you're like, man, that was fun listening to. Because I was like, the whole part of that journey back then was to kind of talk to people who I admired as far as filmmakers. And you and I came across each other when I did the Converge South Film Festival. And I was looking for short films to fill in all the blanks. And I think Eric recommended you. And so he was just like, look, check out this film. And I saw Deadly Finger.
Right.
And it was just like, oh my God, this is great. I want to use this so bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got anything else? You're like, here's Deadly Finger 2. And then you're like, here's Winds of Time.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, this is gold. And luckily at that time, there was like no limits. So, and I was running the show. So I showed a lot of your work. I wasn't gonna say mostly. And watching that, I got this great understanding of your sense of humor, your timing, just as a filmmaker, as an actor, like all those things that go into just those shorts. And I was like, man, this guy is talented.
Yeah, nice.
And it's great that you and the stunt people kind of like teamed up together. So I just want to kind of go back to that time in your life. How did you, and we might have discussed this earlier, and that's the thing that's driving me crazy is like my memory is so bad, even though I just listened to it like 3 months ago. How did you get that idea to come up with like Deadly Finger and then go like, oh, this would be fun to do with like, the stunt people? Was it something like, you ever see the kids?
Kids in the Hall?
Yeah, Kids
Crushing
in the Hall.
Your Head?
Crushing Your Head.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. It was a combination of things. So funny enough, like I just told you that Eric and I are going to do another one coming up. So stay tuned for Deadly Finger 3. 20 years later or whatever. No, it was the main thing that catalyst was actually Dennis. He had this goofy little video where somebody was sitting on the floor and had his legs crossed, so his toe was sticking up, and he had a guy like that. And so he just told him to react. I think it was Marco. He said, "Hey, react like I'm hitting you in the groin." So he just did it with his toe, and it was just this one little snippet. And Dan showed that to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's really funny," And then we just we should make a whole short like that, except instead of a toe, let's make it a finger so that we can move around. And that's how that actually happened. But I had remembered when I was even younger, I had made a short with some other friends where we were like POV and we would just punch each other from wherever we were in the room. So that had already been in the back of my head. So I took that and Dennis's little clip and I said, oh, let's kind of do the same thing. So that's kind of where that came from. But it was definitely, the catalyst was that little clip that Den had of the deadly toe.
What was the time period between Deadly Finger and then the second?
Oh man, it was like less than a year.
Yeah.
Because everyone became a big fan of it, all
Oh,
the
okay.
stunt guys. So they said, oh, we all want to be in it. And so we used to train at this gym every Sunday on 5th and whatever that is down the Mission or downtown. And let's just go there and shoot the whole thing. We'll get everybody there. And they did. All these guys showed up. And we shot, I was talking to Eric about it yesterday. We shot that like in one day, like a few hours. Everyone just got together. We just came up with gags on the fly and just did that.
Dude, the timing was amazing. And actually, so how did they know where you were going to move with the, the finger and to react to that?
It's like any kind of choreography. It's like a dance. It's like you just time it. They know my rhythm and I just, and they just move. It's almost like, I can't even explain it. It's like we just react to each other. Like I'm going to go boom, 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 boom. And they just know. They just have to do their thing and I have to kind of match it. Because it's hard for them to watch me. You know?
That's awesome. So actually, I have a clip of
Oh,
Deadly
yeah.
Finger. Just want to get your reaction. I don't know how, when's the last time you even watched it?
The first one, maybe not that long ago. Part 2, I think we watched it somewhat recently because we had a memorial for Den. So, yeah, but it's been a while since I've seen like really sat and watched it.
It's a clip. I
Yeah,
took
yeah,
about
yeah.
like a minute. I hope you're okay with me like taking it off YouTube. And
Of course.
okay, great.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see, I put my glasses on.
More of you to defeat.
Oh yeah.
Nothing but my finger. What? What?
There's Eric.
That's so great.
Oh, Cosmo. Steve Reedy. Hey, Matt Lucas.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Oh, my little puppies. Come here, my little puppies, my little puppies. What's wrong? What's wrong?
Oh man, we were just talking about those gags yesterday. It's just so funny that you're showing that clip. So we were just, the one that cracks me up is the one that comes later when they're all lined up, and Eric's holding the wood, and I split the wood, and we were just laughing because we're like, "What were you gonna do with that piece of wood?"
Yeah, you're like,
I was challenging you. I was challenging you. I was like, right, that one, and then when I lift him up by the chin and then
Yeah.
I smack him back. I mean, there's a lot of great gags in that.
I love the one where you do the all
Oh, the four
fingers,
come
yeah.
back down. Yeah, yeah.
It's just so much fun watching that. And so when you went from Deadly Finger, the next thing, in my mind at least, and I'm sure you have a lot of videos,
Oh, yeah.
but it was The Winds of Time.
Yeah, so Deadly Finger was 2005, and it was 3 videos I made because I was trying to get into this short film festival. So it was Deadly Finger, this one called Why, where I took Dennis out into the park, and we just did this random like wacky David Lynchy Monty Python thing that was so abstract and weird. And then the other one was what was the third one that we did? There was 3 of them that I made. Oh, I think it was Gassy Girl or something like that, just something really stupid. And Deadly Finger was the one that we ended up really liking. So that, and then I think it was later 05 or maybe early 06 that we did 2. But in there I did Winds of Time
Oh,
also.
okay.
So it was
in
kind of
there.
around the same era.
Okay.
So Winds of Time was definitely 5 and 6, and then there was a gap, and then we did episodes 3 and 4 in 2008. I was dating Pam, the girl who plays Carmen Dawn, in 5 and 6, and we broke up, and then we didn't talk for a couple years, and then I ran into her at a party, and I said, "Hey, you down to do a couple more episodes?" And she's like, "Sure." And so at that point we were just friends, and we did 3 and 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's that gap.
And if you could see the quality level got a little better in 3 and 4 too, because we had a better camera, and
That's the thing is like, it's so funny looking back at and I say our because I did a lot of work too back
Yeah.
then. And the footage, how amazing these cameras are today.
Yeah.
And how like content creators now are doing amazing things.
Yeah.
But even if it's
But not only that, if you remember YouTube in the beginning, the compression was awful.
Oh, terrible.
It looked like shit.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to put anything on YouTube. People were like, put it on YouTube. I'm like, no, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
You know,
I
so
think
if
it's like 240, I think.
yeah, like the one, like what you just showed. It looks like that's from the time.
Yep.
So that's why it looks like that.
Yeah. And nothing over 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a 10? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a 10-minute gap.
Yeah. So that, oh, sorry, I'm touching this thing. Yeah. But now it's like, yeah, you're right. Now people can do incredible things like 8K, you know?
I don't understand 8K with computer screens or anything like that. You're not going to get that visual.
It's more, I think, to be able to manipulate the image more,
yeah,
the effects.
I get
and
that.
You can get in there and do a lot, and then it doesn't degrade at all. I think that's really what it's for.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I don't get into that. To me, like 2K was plenty.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Everybody's like 4K. All right, fine, 4K.
So for the Winds of Time, where did you come up with that idea? Was that when you were dating her? You guys were talking about it?
No. So the interesting thing about the Winds of Time is that was birthed from such a crazy trajectory. It was like back in 1997. I made this series of movies with this other friend of mine called The Final Confrontations. Right? And the first one was called Final Confrontation. It was just some goofy thing we did one day, just fucking around. Just an excuse for a fight scene. We came up with ridiculous premise, over dramatic dialogue, and then we ended in a stupid fight. Then we, well, let's do another one. So we called it the second Final Confrontation, which is kind of a goof, right? So in the second Final Confrontation, each one of them ends with a musical number where we pop up and do some lip syncing thing. The first one was the mariachi song from Desperado. The second one, I did a Julio Iglesias song, which is what I used in the end of episode 4 of Winds of Time, the version you saw.
Yes.
That same song. And the whole idea is I pop up, the character of Jorge Valenzuela was birthed that day because I popped up basically imitating my father. I was wearing his jacket, one of his shirts, I slicked my hair back, and I just kind of did my father drunk thing. That's where that character came from. So after doing that, we did 2 more Final Confrontations, but that character, I was like, that's a character I should play in something. So I wrote a movie called The Winds of Time, a soap opera that we made in 1998. It was a 40-minute short. We did it with like just video cameras, no money, whatever we had. And it was Carmen Dawn, Jiu-Jitsu nurse. It was the premise. There was no karate boys, but it was, and then there was this bad guy named Blaine Richterfield, which I ended up recycling that name eons later, just in this movie I did called Prepare to Die. Lorenzo Lamas plays him.
Oh, no kidding.
But at the time, this friend of mine, Eric, played Blaine Richterfield. And it was this big soap opera, ridiculous, over the top. And Jorge Valenzuela was this really sleazy porn director. So anyway, that movie came and went, nothing came of it. And that was 1998. And then flash forward to 2005. And I remember just like, I always liked that idea of a jiu-jitsu nurse. And now I have the Karate Boys, which they came from an adventure movie I made that you probably never saw because it's not really anywhere. It's on Vimeo. We made 2 adventure movies, The Curse of the Analog Tape and The Curse of the Analog Tape and The Quest for the Audio Map. And they were like spoofs on Indiana Jones,
Right.
80s. I don't know if you ever saw those. But
I think I did see it. You mentioned that last time in our previous pod. And I did.
Yeah.
It's just my memory came.
I still love those.
Yeah.
And it's a part of me wants to re-upload them. They have so much music in them, I'd get flagged.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the Karate Boys were born in that second movie. That was the first time Dennis and Donovan and Ray played those characters.
Okay.
And I just really love those characters. And then I also really love the Jorge Valenzuela thing. And I said, how can we bring them back? And then that's when I was like, I had that soap opera idea, the jiu-jitsu nurse. Maybe I could bring that back and put the Karate Boys in it. And just some stupid premise about how Jorge just wants to go on a date with Carmen, but she always beats him up. So he hires a karate boy, just silly.
Yeah.
And that's how that came about. So it was like a winding road to get there.
It's so cool.
And again, I got to give credit to my dad because that
was his look.
that was his look back in the day when he was probably in his, like, I'd say 40s. That was his vibe.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah. It was like my drunk dad and Pepe Le Pew kind of, morphed together,
But where did you get the character? Like you played the character.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, your comedy is just gold when you act.
Oh, thank you.
Like you do that really well. So, where did you get the inspiration for that character?
Again, like I said,
Your dad?
My dad. Like my dad at parties when he was drunk when I was a kid, and he was just that guy.
Did you ever see him like, but I love you?
Kind of. He didn't
You
really
went over the top.
That's more like Pepe Le Pew.
Oh,
So I was like
gotcha.
injecting the Pepe Le Pew. They're like, oh, but I love you, And then just this kind of, it's hard to explain. He's got this swagger, and he's very funny and charming, and and of course I pushed it to an extreme and made it, And then, like I said, in episode 3, I don't know if you remember, but I worship literally at the altar of Pepe Le Pew. Like there's a Pepe Le Pew picture, and I'm like praying to him. He's my hero. So it was a combo of that. That's where I got that whole, dancing and stuff. Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I have a clip from the second episode.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
No,
so-
episode 2 is Querida.
Yeah. Oh God, this is my favorite. And
Okay.
We'll pick up in the middle of the song, but So unfortunately, I can't use one of the clips that were showing Jose's short because he was using a music that's copyrighted, and his character is singing a song to a woman that he's obsessed with who keeps beating him up. And it's one of the most hilarious things I've seen. And he does such a fantastic job. So we're going to cut to us picking back up from where that happened. And I'll link the video here or over there, one of the places. So if you want to watch it, you're welcome to. Sorry about that.
Jorge, it's Derek Steele. We're on our way to get her.
Yes. Make her love me.
Oh, right before the Karate Boy showed up.
Yeah. I just wanted to get that clip because
Okay, I'm really impressed that's the clip you picked.
no, I think it's one of the most hilarious things about it. And the Karate Boys are fantastic. I mean, there's so many in that short amount of time. It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
That I was laughing and enjoying the whole thing.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good to know that people were a lot, because you make stuff and you don't know who's going to like it, and it never quite went viral. It kind of, but everyone who sees it loves it, and I still have in my comedy reel to this day parts of episode 4.
Oh, nice.
At the end, like my comedy reel ends with that dance number in episode 4, which is my favorite, when we do the little Macarena dance. But
And is that when she dresses up like as a nurse?
like a
and
nurse,
come
yeah,
out? That was hilarious.
Yeah, but episodes 1 and 2 were people used to tell me how much they love that episode, and it was like that's a throwaway episode, by the way, because I shot a completely different beginning. I shot it in L.A. I was living in San Francisco still, and my buddy Alex was in it, and we shot at this house in the Palisades that he used to like house sit, and so we had this bar, and we had this whole like dialogue, and he did a lip syncing number to that song, I Really Want to See You Tonight. I'm not talking about moving in, right? And my car got broken into. My camera, tapes, notebook, clothes, all this shit got stolen from my car, including all the footage that we shot for that. And I was devastated, and it was awful, and I still have PTSD about it. But I had to come up with a new beginning.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, well, I don't know, how about I'm just sitting on the couch, and I'll sing Querida, and we'll have flashbacks of her, and then the Karate Boys will call me, and then it'll cut to them, because I already had them shot fighting. I needed something that led into it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's where that came from. I had to think of something. Yeah, and Pam shot it. Like she was just, she's the one who shot it. Yeah, it was just me and her.
So I remember when we were talking in the previous one where you were at that time, and you're asking me questions about distribution. Because we did Dogs of Chinatown and it went through distribution.
We were talking about that yesterday too. Yeah. That was I was saying how like visually at the time it was pretty innovative.
It was pretty. Micah is a visionary.
Yeah.
He's a really stylistic director and understands like a really unique viewpoint.
It was cool. It was very Sin City-ish.
Yeah, very Sin City, and I know Micah is he loves drama and noir. Like he put in kung fu with guns, like everything.
Yeah.
About it. It was amazing.
It was so we were talking about that yesterday because Eric was saying how his thing is to be funny, like to be the goof, to be the lovable goof.
Yeah.
And so he said after he did Contour, he's like, man, this is my thing. I wanted to be the lovable goof. And he goes, and then the first thing that I get asked to do is you're playing a dreary, down, trodden, serious guy, and he just thought it was funny that's the first thing he got asked to do.
He was depressed. He put a gun in his mouth about to shoot himself. He hears the dame in distress. He goes out, kills them, and next thing you know, he's on his next journey.
Yeah. It was like, oh, that's right in your wheelhouse, Eric.
He did a great job. And that was so much fun because him and Ray came out.
Yeah.
And they both were fantastic to work with. And that's kind of like how, our relationship began. I was just in the background, like producing, doing behind the scenes and all that stuff. But then started researching because Micah and Blake were the ones who really found
Blake. I remember them.
Those two like online. And when they shared it to me, I was like, oh man, this is going to be amazing. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. But where you were at the time, you're asking us questions and now you're a filmmaker. Like you're doing this professionally.
Yeah, you can say that. Yep.
What does that mean?
I mean, yes. I shouldn't downplay that. You always hope that you were. I hope by now that I would have been in a much bigger place, bigger by financially. But yes, for the last 10 years, I have been making my living primarily as a director, writer, editor. So I'm happy about that. But a lot of the stuff I've done has been hired gun work, TV, movies, Lifetime. films for Tubi, things like that, which has been great because it's given me the opportunity. I've learned so much, met a lot of great people, and gotten to travel. Like I've really gotten to be in all these different places. So that's been great for that. I learned a lot.
So what was that transition into? Like, where were you before that? And then how did you start getting in there? Because me as a filmmaker, I always I think I missed that boat. Like I never got into the actual film production. I worked on a couple TV shows, did documentaries, all that stuff. But for some reason, I don't know, it might be me, something happened as a kid where I just don't trust people. And, after I graduated college, I went back to New York, worked on a lot of film sets, and got taken advantage of for almost like 6 in a row. And I was like, I'm done. I'd rather work for myself than someone else.
Yeah.
And I also understand they're all of them are not like that. But I was just in that crew that was like, they were looking for freebies and
Sure.
you'll move up with us kind of thing, wink, wink. And
Yeah.
you just don't. And a lot of that is in the industry, but there's also a lot of opportunities.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
how
a
did
lot
you
of it is
get
who.
into that?
Yeah, a lot of it is who you know, how
Yeah.
how lucky you are. And for me, I kind of fell into it because I've been doing this kind of stuff forever. Indie guerrilla, just your friends, right? And then after Winds of Time and all that came Owned, which was more of a straight up crime drama. That it was actually. We had that camera that did the fake 24p. Remember the Panasonic?
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was excited about it, but it was on its way out because it was getting replaced by DSLRs that did true 24, and you could change the lenses. And so it was right in that era of like 2006, 7.
That was all in one camcorder, wasn't it? Like the Panasonic?
Yeah, it was just like an old school camcorder.
HVX 200 or something like that?
No, that's a different one. It
Okay.
was the Panasonic DVX 100.
DVX one. Okay.
Yeah, and you couldn't change the lenses or anything. But they had one. Dennis and Ed had one.
Okay.
And they were about to sell it because they were going to get a DSLR. And before they were going to sell it, Dennis is like, let's make a feature real quick. And so we made Owned. And I just wrote it really fast. Like I used the Robert Rodriguez school of filmmaking where I was like, what do I have? Who do I have? I'll write a script based on that. And that's why I made a crime drama. And that, got into some film festivals. I actually managed to sell that and get a little distribution deal. And so that led me to... Then I made Hell's Kittens in 2007. I don't know if you remember that one. The short
I
fake-
never saw it though.
There's no movie. It's just a fake trailer. That's all that exists.
Nice.
Yeah. And I kept thinking that fake trailer was going to get me to get the movie made. It never worked. But I did, through people that, worked for them, got to meet the guys at the Asylum. The Sharknado people.
Yeah.
Before Sharknado. And so I made a contact with them, but nothing came of that. Flash forward to 2010, right after Owned, I get a call from this guy, Mark Atkins, who worked for the Asylum a lot. And he said, hey, they're looking for an editor for Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. Are you interested?
Hell yeah.
And I was like, no. But I was like, no. And I remember this girl I was kind of dating at the time. She's like, you have to do it. You got to do it. You never know what it could lead to, I was like, I don't want to edit a movie called Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. Sounds like a nightmare. But I said yes. And I actually ended up having to come to LA and like basically sleep in my friend's garage so that I could work at the Asylum, right?
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then that led, and they knew that I'd made a bunch of stuff. I'd sent them a lot of my stuff, and they thought I was a talented guy, but they just were like, you got to get to know people. So they gave me the opportunity to direct one of their sex comedies. At the time, they had like a bunch of these movies, like the 18-Year-Old Virgin and MILF and Sex Pot and Number One Cheerleader Camp. So they had this one coming up called Barely Legal. And they're like, do you want to direct this? It's going to be real low budget. You only have 10 days to shoot it. Damn. And stupid me, I was like, yeah, it's going to be hot girls in a mansion. How hard could this be? And
What's your crew like when you do something like that?
Oh, they have a full crew.
Okay.
Like you have, your first AD, you have your DP, you have AC, you have all the roles.
Good.
But it's small, and a lot of people are very green, and so that ended up being my first time directing, and that was way more difficult than I thought, but it got me in the door. And that movie actually did really well for them financially, so they remembered that. And so I wanted to make an action movie, and I kept saying, let me know when you need an action movie. So in the meantime, I made another guerrilla film called Bert, which I ran around with the camera in LA, DSLR, a little arty, surreal body swap movie. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
No.
Yeah, that one's on YouTube. I could send it to you.
Oh, cool.
I think it's pretty cool, but just kind of I was trying to get into that scene where people were making movies with DSLRs and getting attention for it. I was trying to get there, but I missed the boat. Like by the time I got mine made, everyone had moved on and started getting more upscale.
Gotcha.
So I just missed that guerrilla window by like a couple of years. And then, so I made that. I'm trying to remember. I made a bunch of other things during that time, but the next big thing was Barrio Brawler. And that's when they were like, hey, we need a bunch of Latino movies. They were going to try to go for the Latino market. And I go, we need like a...
And that was Asylum?
Yeah. And like, we need a quinceañera film and we need an action movie. I said, I'll do the action movie. I'm not doing a quinceañera film. And I pitched them a bunch of ideas, and then they went with the kind of generic pit fight idea. And my idea was way more epic, but they were like, no, keep it simple. One guy, pit fight, has to save his family, that kind of typical, but just give it the Latino flavor. And
so when you're in like those kind of discussions, is
Yeah.
it more of like they know it works because it's a business model?
Yes.
So they're just like, let's just stick to this.
Yes, but they had never done a Latino-themed action movie before.
Okay.
Their wheelhouse was these shark movies, crocodile,
Yeah.
giant monster movies, and the sex comedies, which were on their way out.
Okay.
And so they were trying things. And that also was the first year. That was 2013. That was the first year they were making the first Sharknado.
Oh.
So literally while we were shooting Barrio Brawler, they were shooting the first Sharknado. And that's kind of why we had some freedom. They left us alone because they were so busy dealing with that,
Yeah.
which was a complete chaotic shoot where they had so many things to keep an eye on that they just left us alone. And we were shooting in San Francisco, and he let me, cast Dennis, and Dennis was my choreographer. And then we got all our guys like Ray and Troy and, Alvin and all these guys in there that we knew, Steve Yu, all these guys we knew to be in the movie. And so that's why it kind of works, because we only had 13 days to shoot that movie.
And you knew everybody, so it's just a flow.
Yeah. The DP was the guy Aaron I knew, so it was almost like we got to make our own movie on their dime.
Yeah.
Even though it was sort of, I wrote the script, but it was a script dictated by their mandates.
Sure.
And but we had no time, and so Den was like, well, how are we going to make these fights in all this time? I go, I don't know. So he prevised them. He came up with real short, simple fights, and he knew all the guys would be good, so he knew we'd get them fast.
Nice.
That's how we pulled that off. And so that's what. So once I did Barrio Brawler, then I was in with them. And that's 2013, and then I did Sensitive 70s, Turtleneck Tough Guys. I did this short Apocalyptic. I did two Turtleneck Tough Guys.
Let's stop at Sensitive
Yeah.
70. What is it?
Sensitive 70s, Turtleneck Tough Guys. That was
Love that
2014. Yeah, I know.
And
That's a fun
that
time.
was your own. That was independent.
That was, again, another kind of like guerrilla, DSLR, bunch of buddies. My buddy Brett co-wrote that with me. Den was like choreographer. He shot all the action. Troy's in that, of course. Eric's in that. He plays my cohort, And so that was maybe the last, before I moved, the last real guerrilla passion project.
And
I did a little apocalyptic short after that with SETI. I don't know if you know who SETI is.
No.
We did a cool little post-apocalyptic fight scene right before. That was the last thing I did before I moved. Then I moved, and then that's what started. To answer your question,
Yeah.
that's what got me into. They knew me from Barrio Brawler now and Barely Legal. When I moved there, I
They're
jumped on
always here.
board to edit this movie called Dead 7, which was a zombie western movie starring the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, or members of 90s bands. And then that led me to directing a Lifetime movie. And then that kind of became my thing for a few years. Yeah. But yes,
That's pretty awesome.
that's how it happened. So
Yeah.
it was like, it's really at the end of the day, it was who I knew.
Yeah, and look, I understand, like, with your acumen and how you think and the kind of movies that you make, like, I would love to see you do your own movies.
Well, Mary Magnum, we'll get to that. But yeah.
But it's great that you had all those connections and making those things. I guess, that's how you really do it, is finding those connections all throughout the whole thing before you can make your own.
Yeah. But to be fair, I sort of lost my soul for, over the course of the next, 7 years, just making these hired gun movies that I had no real connection to. I mean, I don't know if you ever watch Lifetime movies.
No.
Yeah. They're what they are.
A Lifetime.
And again, I'm grateful
Yeah.
for the experiences and everything I learned and all the people I met and where I got to travel. It's great. I also made a shark movie called Frenzy for the Sci-Fi Channel, and I got to go to Thailand to shoot that.
That's cool.
That was amazing.
How long
Hardest
were you in
job of my
Thailand?
life. 6 weeks.
Okay.
It was the hardest job of my life. It was really hard, but beautiful, great
Yeah.
experience. So things like that. You're lucky, I got to travel all over this country to do movies. So I don't want to act like I'm not appreciative of that. But
I get that.
it did get to the point where I was getting depressed. And the reason why I bring this up is because I was showing a friend all this old stuff. Winds of Time, Uminchu. I don't know if you ever saw Uminchu. You'd like that. That's like it's like the same class as Deadly Finger.
Okay.
Me and Dennis and Seti just in the park. And what do you call it? We were watching these old short, Sensitive 70s, and he goes, "No wonder why you're depressed, dude, because this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is who you are.
Yeah.
Not these hired gun, films for TV. Like, you need to go back to this." And I was like, "Yeah, right." And that's what Chico Rico was. I was trying to gain traction on that, making that proof of concept, writing that script, and it's hard. It's hard. No one wants to give you money to do those things. Like, everybody just, especially nowadays, it's even worse than it used to be, where it's just market. Like,
Yeah.
what is the market?
Oh, that's all it is now. It's
Yeah.
like, unless you're a superhero film, it's just
Yeah.
really difficult. And it's interesting that you went down that, kind of that, how you talked about your experience through that and what you went through as far as depression, because like me, I'm grateful for the jobs I had. I was able to go to Thailand as well.
Oh, cool.
Shooting for.
It's beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like the best food I ever had was like, it was at their hotel, but they had like about 13 to 18 kitchens in the hotel.
Wow.
And you could add anything you want. And I have been off that diet ever since. Like ever since, that was like 6 years ago. But the reason why I mention that is because I've kind of lost it. When you work for a company, they have ideas of what they want to do.
Yeah.
And then as a filmmaker or just as someone who knows video, you're like, oh, this is how we should do it. And they're like, nope, let's do it like this. And so you get told what to do.
Yeah.
And I get it. That's what the job entails. And as someone who's my age right now, I understand that. And when I was in my 30s and 40s, early 40s, it was really difficult to kind of swallow that. And now I'm like, I'm grateful for the money, the healthcare, all these things that come with it. But also I've lost something because of that.
Yeah.
And part of it is I don't trust myself as a filmmaker anymore. I'm good at doing stuff like this. I know how to put it up. I know what I'm looking for, all that stuff. But as far as like if someone came to me and they go, we want to do this, I hear all these other creative directors or someone else, do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. So when they give me carte blanche, I'm like, just please tell me what you need or what you want to do. And enough of that, because I enjoy doing the stuff like this. This is what, the thing that really hit me was when you said what you shared, your passion projects. And then that's what I saw, you're excited about it. So my demo reel, everything that I've done in the past 10 years is not really demo reel kind of worthy. Like I'm not shooting with cinema cameras. I'm not shooting big events. I'm doing product launches. I'm doing sizzle reels at conferences. So it's not really stuff that would get someone excited about like looking at my stuff. But I have a documentary, that won a Vimeo award. I have other documentaries that done big stuff, but it doesn't fit the mold of, corporate or business. So I'm like kind of floating in between where I'm just like not sure, but I'm getting at that age right now where I'm like, this is kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And also like,
And I'm okay with that.
The older we get, like peace starts to matter so much more.
Yeah. Where's your piece? Where do you find your piece?
That's it. I'm working on it, man. Like I've been working on that for the last few years, just trying to find my piece, trying to find like, okay, where am I happy? The balance between like still pursuing things I'm passionate about, but also like not making it defining who I am. Because that the movie business, particularly if you're in LA, it can really just devour you. And I've met so many people, and you see those people, the lifers that are just like devoured by it, and it's almost like they don't know who they are if they're not chasing that, Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to have an element of that if you hope to get anywhere. Because if you just kind of treat it like whatever, it's never going to happen. So it's like I've been trying to find that balance. It's been tough, and it got really slow with everything in the business, with the strikes and the, everything that was going on the last couple of years. It got really slow for me. It was slow for a lot of people. It's picked up for some, but for me, it hasn't. And I had kind of had all my eggs in this one basket for a while, getting a lot of my jobs from that basket. And when that basket, let's just say, disappeared, I found myself like not able to get work, you know, because I didn't cultivate a lot of different relationships. I had like that one, and now I'm like, oh, that was my main thing, and now it's gone. Now what do I do? You know?
I can relate.
Yeah. So it was really, you know, tough. And I got a gig here and there. You know, I did a rom-com in Louisiana last Christmas. That was an independent thing with a friend of mine that, you know, she independently produced it and hired me, and that helped. But you know, it wasn't until I decided to do Mary Magnum, which is a ITN production. And I don't know if you know who ITN is, but have you heard of the movie Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
Yeah.
So this guy who produced that, he has a kind of a strategy where he hires filmmakers and says, I'm going to give you this minuscule amount of money to make me XYZ movie, right? You have to agree on the premise. All he cares about is the premise, the poster, the title. Then he says, here's a little minuscule amount of money, go make it, I'm not going to bother you. And I did a movie for him in 2020 called From the Depths. And he came to me and he goes, can you make me a shark movie for like $30,000? I was like, no, because I had made Frenzy in Thailand, and that was impossible, and we had a $500,000 budget.
Right.
You know, and I was like, how do you make a shark movie for? So after racking my brain, because I needed work, because that was 2019, and it was so slow for me that year. I came up with this idea of doing it as a psychological thriller, a woman trapped in her house, like a Twilight Zone episode. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do it like that. And he's like, and I just kept saying, do you care if I do it like this? And he would just go, is there a shark in it? I go, yes, there's a shark in it. It's a dream shark.
I saw this movie, by the way.
Oh, you did?
I actually liked it.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, I love it. I'm actually very proud of it.
I mean, the way it ended was like, man, that was really clever. And
Yeah.
then piecing it back, going backwards to it, or through it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
all the things,
Well, I
especially
mean,
when you're talking about the house.
it was Jacob's Ladder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was also the land shark from SNL at the end, right? Which was one of my favorite little bits, because one of the little in jokes is, I don't know if you remember that scene, but when she's like Pizza Man, and he's like,
Yep.
he sounds just like Chevy Chase. That's actually the voice of Anthony Ferrante, who is the director of all the Sharknado movies. Oh, that's fun. So it's sort of like an in joke, you know. And also that fin that's circling her
Yeah.
in the pool, that's the fin from the first Sharknado movie. So it was like kind of like a little in joke. Anyway.
So did you guys like rent a house, like an Airbnb?
It was an Airbnb to shoot that. The pool was at a buddy's house who had a pool, but everything else was at this Airbnb, and we just shot it there. And so that's how we pulled that off. It was really tough.
Yeah.
A lot of people got, you know, did favors, got paid next to nothing, if not nothing. And so this guy who runs ITN, he liked it. So he remembered me. And he's always like, hey, man, my door's always open if you ever want to do this. And I'm like, man, that's too hard.
Yeah.
You know? So years go by, and like I said, it got real slow after 2023. And I just remember thinking I could always go back to him, but and then I went back to him finally, and he said, yeah, man, you know, I got these movies, like, you know, I got a movie called Bikini Shark. Like, I'm not doing another shark movie, man. All right, well, I got another one called Bikini Nuns. I was like, Bikini Nuns, what? And he goes, yeah, man. And I go, I pitched him all these ideas I had. I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that. I thought some great ideas that would fit in his. He's like, nah. I need something that, like, when they're scrolling on Tubi, they can't help but click on it. And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, you got something with a nun in it? I go, you want something with a nun in it? And then that's when Dennis and I, just through text, started brainstorming back and forth, like ridiculous title ideas. And one of the titles he came back with was like Mary Magnum and the Seven Sisters of something. And I didn't like the rest of it, but I liked the name Mary Magnum. And I said, hey, I like that name Mary Magnum. You know, like, that's cool. And then I go, Mary Magnum. And then flashing back to Winds of Time, Jiu-Jitsu nurse, Jiu-Jitsu nun. Mary Magnum, Jiu-Jitsu nun. Go back to the guy with that, and he goes, yeah, all right, do that. And I was like, okay. And so then me and Dan started brainstorming, like, okay, cool, we can do all this action. We can make it an action movie, you know? And so that's how that happened. So that, like, we just finished it. I haven't edited it yet. That became, for me, like the first time in a very long time that I made something that I felt like was my wheelhouse. Even though I never would have thought of doing a nun movie, but it's still the kind of, I mean, Jiu-Jitsu nurse, Jiu-Jitsu nun, it's the kind of humor. I got to write it the way I wanted. He had no say. All he cared about was the title and the fact that, you know, it's gonna, because to him that qualifies.
And
You're
that's really
scrolling through
cool,
Tubi,
too.
you see Mary Magnum Jiu-Jitsu Nun. What is that?
Yeah, and you
know.
got to work with all your crew.
And I got to work with all our people, and we did it kind of old school, guerrilla, me with the gimbal, friends.
How did that feel?
It was great. It was great. It was bittersweet because, Den was supposed to be there. But we were happy every day being there. That was one thing I noticed. We all looked around every day and were like, this is cool. This is exactly what Den would have wanted. And we're just running around with a camera. So it was a tribute to him in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and that must have been helpful to everybody that everybody was kind of together too
Yes.
during that.
And in fact, like Ray and Troy, and I don't know if you know Lucas Akuma, he was part of that old stunt people crew as well. The three of them came out of their own accord from the Bay to LA to be in it, to cameo in this one scene. And I was like, listen, man, I got no money to pay you, but they go, no, we want to come. So they came, so that was great to get to put them in it. And it's the opening of the movie, so it's kind of cool. So many people came forward and just helped out and like went above and beyond to make that happen. It was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And something I forgot to mention is like when you talked about the 70s turtleneck, sensitive.
70s turtleneck tough guys.
It's so hard for me to remember.
I know, it's kind of funny that it is hard for people to remember, but I feel like it rolls off.
It does.
Sensitive 70s turtletneck tough guys, but it is a lot. It's a mouthful. It's a
Tough
mouthful.
guys. But I actually have it on here, just
Oh.
a clip again.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah.
let's go for it.
You know what's inside every turkey that thinks he's some kind of badass? A little boy, man. Frightened little boy who's afraid to cry because he was told to man up. Keep it inside. And that is a load of bull.
You're damn right, Ray. Real man and afraid to cry. I'd love to shed me some tears.
Right on, Frank. I cry like a fucking champion.
That's SETI.
Oh, God.
And the tears I shed are the tears of a warrior.
Nice. It's really interesting to see the clips you pick, just because for whatever reason that stood out to you, that part.
Yeah, that whole thing is fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And
I love that short.
I just love how it goes from tears and cry. The one scene when he
Break
breaks
his
his
leg.
leg and kicks him in the face.
Yeah.
That's just to me,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. That was fun. And a lot of those gags were just so fun. And Eric is great and Troy is great. And that location, that's a pizza parlor in my neighborhood I grew up in. It has not changed since I was a little kid.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I just remember thinking, this looks like the 70s in here, man. The other thing I love about that most people don't realize is that that whole scene in the diner is all ADR. It's all ADR. We did record our sound there, and my buddy Zip, who at the time was doing sound mixing, he did his best to clean it up. And I always prefer the live performances.
Yeah.
But it just was so noisy
Yeah.
and because they didn't close for us.
Right.
So, and it wasn't busy, but it was noisy. So we decided, it kind of fits the theme, like it's a 70s dubbed, it'll work. And it does. It's I think it kind of adds a certain element to it.
I did ADR for the entire Dogs of Chinatown.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
Eric and I, we worked on it, and there was one setting, I had no idea about audio. Mike was like, hey, we need somebody to do this. I was like, I'll do it. I had a mic. Everyone's was great, and then Eric came in, and I think the setting got moved a little bit on the mixer. Mm-hmm. And then Mike was like, this is trash, I can't use it. I was like, and so we had to redo it, and the setting went back just to the middle, and we did another full 16-hour day, just ADR in the whole movie.
Wow.
So yeah, it's tough, but it does,
Yeah.
we didn't have any nat sounds or anything to add into it where, you could pick up where it sounds like. That was really well done.
Yeah, well, because my buddy Zip at the time, he was working in a professional mixing studio.
Yeah.
So we were able to go in there, and he added all the extra sound. So it sounds alive.
Yeah.
He did a really good job. But I still think it's funny that the whole thing is dubbed, and most people don't notice. But I do, because I'm like, I like my performance better when it wasn't dubbed. But
And even I was going to put in the second episode. I mean, there's so many.
oh, there's a lot of great gags in the second one.
Yeah, there's so many good things all across it. So I just wanted. It's more about just to have a conversation.
Yeah. I love that short, and for a long time I was pushing that as a series or a feature idea. And everyone would be like, "Oh, I'd love to see that," but it's like, how do you pitch that? I've tried to pitch it, and It's like, and especially nowadays, it's like nobody wants to watch a bunch of macho guys be sensitive.
Well, I think that's why it's so perfect.
Right. Yeah.
It's like playing off that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so like that, Chico and Rico, The Winds of Time, they all sort of fit in this universe. And now Mary Magnum is sort of, I think, an extension.
So how do you see, I mean, you know, today with social media, like I feel like there's such a, it's not really filmic anymore as far as like, you know, kids growing up wanting to watch movies or other things. It's
Yeah,
more,
now they're all watching like little TikTok videos and stuff.
they want to be creators or that kind of world where they're
Yeah.
talking to others. And YouTube's an interesting like platform because it's more of like a community based where you're talking to your audience and kind of introducing things.
Yeah.
And as a filmmaker, I like introducing people or talking to people rather than talking to the audience. But I know that's part of it now today. But I look at your stuff and I'm like, man, this like social media, why isn't it feeding off of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I why it went the way it went. It's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, look, I happen to like YouTube, and I actually watch a lot of videos of people talking. I enjoy that, and in a lot of ways, it's more engaging to me than movies are these days. Because a lot of whenever I sit down to watch a movie these days, it's like unless I go back to watch a classic, I'm almost always disappointed if it's a new movie. Almost always. There's always exceptions.
Yeah.
There's certainly.
What's the last exception?
Oh man, Godzilla -1.
That was amazing.
I thought that was one of my favorite films of the last forever. I was just like this, but it was because it was like a classic movie.
Yeah.
You know, it just hit on all the notes in that classic cinematic way. I loved it. You know, and then before that, you know, I loved movies like Nice Guys, which was sort of like Sensitive 70s. You know, I was hoping that would become a hit, so more people would want more of us what we were doing, but it actually was a flop. And then before that, I'd say Mad Max Fury Road was probably, to me, like one of the best all-time action movies.
Yeah.
So of new movies, those are the ones that stick out to me as like worth it. You know, and there's other good ones too. I liked Mandy. Did you ever see that?
No.
With Nicolas Cage? That really weird, surreal. It's a trip. You should watch it.
Okay.
I like that. I liked actually in 2017 when Lynch came out with Twin Peaks season 3. I actually really liked it. I really thought it was cool. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
You know, I think was a truly great film.
Now, as being someone in LA and understanding the film industry, how did it feel that way?
It felt like, you know, he hit that particular movie, you mean?
Yeah.
I felt like he hit all the stuff he knew and loved so perfectly well. And I remember people were complaining, like, it's not about anything, man. It's Brad Pitt's just driving around. I'm like, yeah, but you feel like you're there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it felt cool, you know? But since then, after 2020, man, movies kind of, they don't make movies for audiences anymore. They make them for streaming platforms. And they're more focused on what the streaming platforms want for advertisers than they are what audiences want. And you can feel it.
Yeah.
So I've watched a few new movies in the last few weeks, and I'm always like, I'm not engaged. It's predictable. It feels hollow. Even though it has a big budget and it stars, and I'm like, this is just, what is this?
Yeah. And I think you probably the same boat. Like we've been around so long, you can kind of like taste it, smell it. And it's just like right off the bat.
Like go back and watch a 90s movie that you thought was just okay back then, and it's actually pretty good compared to what's coming out now.
So I don't know if you ever saw this movie. It's one of my favorites. It's with Ewan McGregor and Ryan Gosling. Stay.
No, I never saw it.
It reminded me a lot of what you did.
Really?
With From the Depths.
Really?
Just that psychological.
I don't think I've heard of that one. And I like Ewan McGregor and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, it's a really bizarre. Like it takes it's a slow burn, but for me it is. The acting is like superb. The directing is fantastic.
When did it come out?
The music is beautiful. Came out I think in like early 2000s.
Oh, so it's like 20-something years old.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that when you hit the end, you're like, ooh.
Okay, cool. Yeah, again, like I think all the way through to about, 2015, 2012, there were still really solid movies coming out, with exceptions after that. but it just social media and streamers just turned it into like, I mean, it's always been a business, right?
Yeah, but it's more of a business now.
It's just so much. Yeah, it's like
the ticket prices and like how much you're spending and
Yeah.
everything involved. It's now just going like what sells, and I'm sure you feel that a lot.
Oh yeah, and but the good news is a lot of indies now are coming to the forefront, and it seems like companies like A24, they're acquiring little indie movies and putting them out there, and that's cool that I'm seeing more of that in the theaters, and I'm hoping that becomes like a new movement where it's more like in the hands of indies again, and they're going to come out and start bringing cinema back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there that grew up loving movies and want to make them, and they're young.
Yeah.
So it's like, good, bring that back, bring that back. We want that. We still want those movies. Like Paul Thomas Anderson just did one, the One Battle After Another. I haven't seen it,
I want to see that.
but I want to see it.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that there's still people that want to see movies like that, you know, because right now everyone's just, you know, you heard of Verticals? That's a huge, you ever heard of Verticals? Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's like the thing right now where they're like they're feature films, but they're broken up into 1 to 2 minute segments, and they're shot vertically
Okay.
so that you can watch on your phone.
Yeah.
And they're only available on apps that you subscribe to or buy credits for. And it originated in China, and in the last few years it's come over here. And in the last couple of years, when everything's been really slow, it's kept a lot of actors and crew people busy.
Oh, okay.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Like that's the only good thing I can say about them, from my perspective, is that they're keeping people busy.
So are they like full-length movies, but in clips?
Broken up in clips, yeah.
Okay.
And apparently they're very popular with like young people. I think particularly young women. I think they're sort of like an offshoot of soap operas meet Lifetime movies for the TikTok generation. You know,
That's interesting.
It is, and I personally don't like them. But like I said, I'm glad they exist because it's keeping people busy.
Yeah.
I don't like anything that's making people stare at their phones even more than we already do.
Dude.
I just think that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's just a bad thing.
It just disconnects too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And something you mentioned earlier about like finding that balance.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's nature.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
get out. That's the reason why I love California.
Yes.
It's like I go over to the Sierras, which I'm probably going to head out in a couple of weeks. Get out there and just shoot some astrophotography, and it just brings me back.
Yes.
And when I don't get out there, it's just like just
That is what I
dragging.
love about coming here from LA. Is I go walk around Golden Gate Park. I go to Moss Beach, Half Moon Bay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I'm just like, oh, this is heaven.
Everything is like
Yeah.
so close to here.
Yeah, yeah. And every morning I take a walk, like for like an hour and a half. That's how I start my day.
That's good.
And if I don't do that, I kind of go crazy. So that helps a lot. Because otherwise I'm just, you know, if I'm editing, like I'm about to edit this movie, and I'm about to get into that routine where I don't leave my house. You know, I'm just editing. So I have to get out and walk.
So what is your format that you choose when you're shooting films, like your films, or do you get to work with Red and all those other?
Yeah, I've shot on Alexa, I've shot on Red, Black Magic. You know, I don't really, when I'm on a gig like that, it's not up to me.
That's a tool.
It's whoever the DP is, it's whatever the producers want, and I'm just there to be like, whatever, shoot it however you want. You know, it's as long as we have the lenses I need. But for Mary Magnum, the camera we had was because the camera we had. Like my buddy Coop, he was gonna bring his camera, and it's a little A7S III, which apparently is really fun and easy to use and does well in low light.
Same sensor as a FX3.
Okay, yeah, it does well in low light. Has a really good autofocus. So it was like, oh, okay, and he says, I'll bring it. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's our camera. So it wasn't like I picked it. It was just more like that was our option, you know. And it's hard to shoot a feature with a little DSLR. They're very limited,
Yeah.
you know. Like I said, it was overheating a lot, and you know, and it was getting noise and stuff like that. But you use it right, it can look great. I mean, you saw the teaser, like, and when we're done, when I get it like professionally graded, my buddy who's a colorist, he's going to do it. You know, it's going to look like we had way more money than we did.
Yeah.
You know, and also they just did such a great job lighting it. Patrick,
That's like,
and
you know, the
Rob.
creator, that movie, shot on FX3.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Yeah.
I started watching it and then I couldn't watch it.
Right.
It's like what you were saying, like, you know, there's some part of it, the first 15 minutes, where I couldn't connect.
Yeah.
And I wanted to watch the rest of it because it's on an FX3 and that's what I own. You know, that
That's
kind
the
of
thing that's changed with me is that I bet it looked good though, right?
It looked okay.
Yeah. The thing that's changed with me in the last 10, 15 years is that I used to be the kind of person that's like, oh, you got to give the movie a chance.
Yeah.
If you started it, you got to finish it because you got to give it a chance. Now I'm like, no, you get you get 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If I'm not engaged by 20 minutes in, I'm turning it off because there's not enough time I don't have time. And if your movie's not going to grab me, then I'm not going to sit there and watch. I'd rather watch something else. And half the time I end up watching Lethal Weapon again, or Die Hard, or Raiders of the Lost Ark, or just something that I know is going to satisfy that need.
I've been jonesing on No Country for Old Men.
That's a good movie, yeah.
And it's just like,
It's a great film.
I can't stop watching it. And it's so dark, but it's so beautifully well done.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Drive is another one I really love.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Like films that just make you like love movies, And that's, yeah.
Let's get back to yours. So the last one I have is, I'm not even going to say the title. I just want to kind of just click on it.
Sure.
Well, you're gonna have to beg better than that.
No more begging will be necessary, unless the begging is coming from you.
Mary, mother of God. Chico and Rico.
Oh, fuck.
Hey, Rico. How'd you find my house?
Little bird told me.
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so cool, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's probably my favorite short to date.
I mean, also just the production value, because it
Yeah.
just was off the charts. Like everything about that, like cinematically, was beautiful.
Yeah, that's a culmination of all the years I'd been working here. And so like the team that I had, my DP who I'd worked with before, and he loved the project. He loved the idea. So he brought his A game, he brought his red, he brought his jib arm. He rented out of his own pocket a bunch of anamorphic lenses because he really wanted it to have that spaghetti Western look and that 2:3:5 aspect ratio. And all those guys are all professional stunt guys, So they're actors. Like Rob Dill's a stunt guy, but he's also a really good actor, and so is Andrew Caters, the two lead bad guys. So we just had like top-notch talent all around. Not to mention Dennis is the choreographer, and and those dogs are real rescue animals. They're not even
that's so
actor.
cool.
They're not even actor dogs. They're legit rescue animals that we managed to get performances out of.
Now, didn't I hear a couple times, like in your films or your that you talked about rescue animals? Is that like a big thing for you?
I mean, I love animals.
Sure.
And there's a lot of animal abuse that still happens. And so I just thought, how cool would it be if there was these guys that's what they do. And one of them can actually communicate with them.
Yeah.
And because, action movies are funny. I was talking to Eric Jacobus about this yesterday, where like, there's only so many premises that you can come up with excuses for there to be fight scenes.
Yeah.
And they're always almost the same shit. It's the ex-CIA guy, ex-soldier,
Revenge.
Yeah, revenge. He's got to revenge something, and or he's got to get back into that job, or they kidnapped his family. He's got, it's always the same. Because why are you fighting with martial arts against other guys fighting martial arts in any kind of scenario that makes any realistic sense? It doesn't make any sense.
I could see Eric doing a movie where, because we talked to him, and like his stance on violence has changed a lot.
Oh yeah, he wrote that whole book. Yeah.
And I could see him doing like an action film where he gets to the final boss or whatever. He's just like, I forgive you, even though it just beats everyone to smithereens.
Right, yeah. So for me, I think that like action comedy is like a totally overlooked like gold mine. It's like, why don't we do more of those? Why do they always have to be so serious? And then also, here's a premise of these two guys that are kicking ass in the name of saving animals, and wouldn't that be cool, you know? And I know people were like, oh, like John Wick, you know, he goes out, it's because of his dog, right? And it's like, yeah, but honestly, I came up with this idea years before John Wick. It just took me a long time to get it done.
Yeah.
But I just think that's a cool reason why these guys are kicking ass, because they don't believe in guns, and you know, they like to disarm these guys. And it's not about like killing people, it's about just teaching them a lesson.
Well,
you know,
just based on like how everything has gone in your career and the connections you have, and then putting stuff like this out, man, it just feels like you're on that cusp of that next person that believes in you, to be like, you have the experience, you have the crew, you have the people. Like, I would hope, you know, that's what happens next.
I hope so too, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's, we've been hoping for years, and it's like, but again, like I think I got lost in the weeds for a minute doing these TV movies and stuff, and just kind of living that life. And I feel like Mary Magnum is sort of like a return to form, and I'm hoping that that movie, I have this, you know, that I can be like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and how is there somebody out there that sees the value in it and goes, we can. At the end of the day, if someone thinks they can make money off of it, they'll do it.
Yeah.
It's just, could they make money off of it? People love this concept.
Yeah.
I've been pitching it for years. People love it. But yet, for whatever reason, that video didn't go viral. For whatever reason, I didn't get any money to make it. You know, I was part of this competition to pitch to Robert Rodriguez things, and I didn't get to round 3. So who knows why, what the markets are looking for right now, you know? Movies that seem to be popular are more like movies like what Statham is doing, Beekeeper,
Yeah.
Working Man, that Nobody, 1 and 2. Like, that's more of like, you know, the one guy, you know, the older grizzled guy. That seems to be what sells. Scott Adkins seems to keep busy making movies where it's one-man army movies, you know? So again, international markets are weird,
Yeah.
you know, and they're a lot of the money. And what they like and don't like is, you know, interesting.
So who are the ones now making the decisions, making movies? Because I've thought about this. Like, when I was a kid, probably like you too, you were like, oh man, I want to see Jason versus Freddy.
Right.
I want to see Godzilla, King Kong. And now all these movies are making, and I'm like, oh, wasn't that great?
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
what generation is now like in control? Would it be Gen X now that's doing it, or?
I mean, there's a lot of Gen X filmmakers that are making all these movies that are from their childhood.
Right.
But a lot of young people now are coming up. You know, I don't know what you call them, Gen Zers, I guess, in their 20s.
Millennials? Yeah, Gen Zs.
Yeah, in their 20s and stuff. Now they're coming up wanting to make their own stuff. And some of them are very versed in old school things and want to bring that back. And some of them don't know anything and they just want to make whatever they think is important. So I don't know. Like, I know the internet can definitely sway things.
Yeah.
You know, so like if they're like, oh, we're going to do this, and everyone comes and says, oh, don't do that, then they won't, or vice versa. But at the end of the day, it's streamers. It's whatever the streamers want, whatever their advertisers want. So something like this, you know, even though there's a market that would love it,
Yeah.
it's not really, does it have international appeal? I don't know. You know, animal abuse is pretty rampant in other countries. They might not want to see, hey, dogfighting is part of our culture. Why are you saying it's bad? You know?
I just had a thought. So a friend of mine, she just became like a VP in the ASPCA, and in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
So I want to share this with her. Just
Please
to be
do.
like,
Please do. I'd
but
love
like,
to hear what she thinks.
Yeah, but like, would your organization ever want to kind of like sponsor or do something with this?
People told me that, and I was like, you know, the thing is, somebody pointed out that what could be interesting about it is that the kind of people that love animals and hate animal abuse might not want to see violence.
Sure.
Of any kind.
That makes sense.
So that, I was like, oh, that's a good point. That might be part of the problem. Also, like, you know, these are two very macho men who are doing it. And a lot of people who love animal stuff, they tend to be women, and, you know, so that could be part of it.
Yeah, but I also think like there's like you know what it's named, like Avengers or something like that. You know, that these are people that kick ass for animals.
Right.
Doesn't matter about like.
And I know for a fact that a lot of these people that love animals would love nothing more than to see an abuser get his ass kicked.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so I was kind of appealing to them, but they might be a small group. And like I said, international is very weird.
Yeah.
And you know, like From the Depths, I remember the international sales guy was there, and the EP brought it up and said, "Oh, this is the guy who made From the Depths, you know, the movie, the great shark movie, the shark in the hallway, you know." And that guy, the international sales guy's reaction was, "Oh yeah, you mean the one with the lesbians?" Yeah.
That's so.
I had a hard time selling that internationally, man, because they're lesbians. And I was like, that's interesting. You know? So it's like, I think that's, so it's funny when when people accuse our culture of being small-minded. It's like, it's actually the rest of the world that's really small-minded still, and still very much kind of like having issues with certain things. So that's part of it too.
Yeah.
So a movie like, a simple movie with a big name like Keanu and John Wick, that's an easy sell internationally.
Yeah.
You know? But a little movie like this, it's tough. And also I always have to make everything weird. It's like, Rico can't just be this straightforward guy. He's got to smoke weed, you know?
Oh, I didn't even know that's what that was.
That's, yeah, it's there's a whole thing in the feature script where he has to smoke weed constantly. Otherwise, all the sounds of the animals everywhere would overwhelm him. And this enables him to just focus on one at a time.
Nice.
So that's why he always has to be high.
Well, see, when I was watching it, is there a point in there where he says all that, like about
In the feature script.
feature,
But
okay.
not in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you're a little birdie told me, I was just like, when you said that, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. He talks to the bird. He
Yeah.
talks to the dog.
Dog, right.
You know, and in this feature script, there's a lot more of that.
Sure.
His communication with animals. It's not like goofy like Dr. Dolittle. It's more of like
Good.
almost like a telepathic thing, where it translates to words in his brain, but they don't say words to him. And I thought that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of, you know, and there's still a world where we can make it, but like again, without Den, it's kind of hard to imagine how I'd make that movie unless I just recast both of them, Chico and Rico, which I always knew was a possibility.
That's another thing about like you playing the roles a lot. You're very versatile in that.
Oh, thanks.
But
I haven't
also
really been acting much lately, so.
and action too. Like, so what was your background with some? Like, did you ever box or do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. So yeah, when I was, when I was younger, I did karate and kung fu, and high school, I saw Roadhouse, and I wanted that Roadhouse of all the movies when I was 15 got me in the karate class, and then I got into Muay Thai for a minute, and then I tried Aikido. I was trying everything.
You're doing it all.
And then I did jiu-jitsu, like I was doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu when it just started becoming a thing.
Oh, wow.
Because of the first UFC.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
The Gracie.
Yes, Gracie. So I was doing that for a while, and then I really screwed my neck up, and then I kind of quit after that. And then after that, I just kept up with boxing. And I was never really I was nowhere near like these guys with the crazy kicks and all that. I never got to that level. But it was mostly boxing. So that's kind of what I stayed with.
Yeah.
Because I can still do that. And that's still, but like jiu-jitsu, I remember the basics. I could probably still get somebody in a rear naked choke or a guillotine, but everybody knows it now. So it's like everybody knows martial arts now. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, so that was my background. So I dabbled in a lot. And I was doing fight scenes ever since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. I loved fight scenes. I was obsessed with Die Hard and that was more of like rough and tumble haymaker styles. It was when I met Den that I went, oh wow, look at you guys with this crazy martial arts. This is way cool.
I thought it was fascinating. When I first met Eric, we had conversations about like fighting scenes, and he was kind of breaking down about like how boring it is, and even how the camera is typical Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like Batman. He's just like, ugh. So you, Eric, and all the stunt people like shoot in a very stylistic way to show the choreography, like to show all the action going on.
Yeah.
How did you learn? I guess working with Dennis. And
Yes. Yeah. Den was a big influence on that. And because, I never, and of course, like movies like Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, like that's the shit I liked. When we got into the weird Bourne Identity with the shaky cam and all that,
Yeah.
I never got into that. And hiding it because of stunt people and all that. I never liked that. I liked the idea of being a little bit back so you can see, and then the camera just kind of being part of the dance. That's when it's the coolest. And and it's not easy to do. Like even when we did Mary Magnum, even though I shot, I'd say 95% of it with the gimbal, when we were doing fight scenes, if there was somebody there like Brian Sloyer who's does his own stuff and it was his gimbal, I'd be like, you shoot it.
Yeah.
Because I knew he would be able to nail it quicker than me, be way more efficient. Or I don't know if you know who Sean Charney is. He's another guy who goes way back, and he's very proficient in shooting action. And if Den had been there, I would have been giving it to him. There's just a way that they anticipate and move that I don't do as much. So I just trust them to do it. you know. But yeah, that's how I learned, was by that, just watching the movies I liked and seeing what they were doing.
So a lot of this conversation, you brought up Dennis's name.
Yeah.
And I know he's been a big impact in your life.
Yeah.
And movies, and a big influence in the circle that you're in, and also the stunt people and others. So I just want to share his stunt reel.
Yeah.
Just so other people, if they're watching this, they get an idea of his action. But then I want to kind of talk about him, you two together.
Sure.
So this is his stunt reel.
Yeah.
His kicking is
I
amazing.
mean, yeah, he's a phenom. Freak of nature. There he is with Sad Atkins. There it is. Oh. Yeah, Barrio Brother.
Yeah. That.
Nice, nice.
Oh man. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He was a phenom, man. I mean, a freak of nature. You know, like it's easy to forget that he, being his friend for so long and knowing him like I did, like you'd forget.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not like he's walking around doing those kicks, you know. So then you look back and you're like, Jesus, man. Like there's not a, when it comes to screen fighting and kicks like that, there's not a lot of people that can even come close.
But the thing that was beautiful to see, after the fact, was how many people were talking about the kind of person he was, because I never got to meet him, or never.
Oh, you never met him?
No, I never met him.
Oh, okay.
But how everyone was saying, not only is he an amazing what he does, but also just a genuine, kind person.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's sad. The whole thing was sad. And how did you kind of work through that?
Oh man, it was. I'm still working through it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm ever going to be done working through it. It's just, even just seeing that, like it's, I always have to kind of think about it. For the first couple of months, I was pretty worthless, and it happened like a week before my birthday. I think what helped me get to the next step of like just kind of coming out of that hole that I fell in, so many of us fell in, was the Mary Magnum project, because that was the last project him and I were going to do together. And it wasn't like that was the project that was going to, we always wanted to do Chico and Rico, but we knew that this was going to be an interim, just something to get done. And I could sense he really hated the idea that the budget was going to be so low, but I could feel him getting excited, because I kept telling him like, yeah, but what would Jose and Den 15 years ago say if somebody's like, here's 40 grand, go make me a movie? We'd be like, what?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with all this money?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's true. So I was like, as it was getting closer, it was like I could sense that he was like, yeah, it's gonna be exciting to get to just be guerrilla with our friends again. But I couldn't do shit for like 2 months, and I couldn't write it. I couldn't even look at the script. I was like, I can't do this movie. I can't do this movie without him. It's not gonna happen. And it wasn't until I got to give her credit to my lead actress, Paula, who plays Mary Magnum. She was just always kind of hovering around, like very respectfully, and very like she was there through the process. She only met Den once, but he really impacted her. And she's like, look, I'm still here if you want to do it. Whatever you need, I'll help you make it. And I was like, that's cool. And of course, Rob Dill, who he was good friends with Dennis as well, and he was in Chico and Rico. He's the guy wearing the beanie. He was also in my movie Prepare to Die. He was also like going to be a part of it. He was always going to play the villain. That was always the plan. And so he's like, hey man, I'll help you make it if you want to make it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can. I couldn't. So I guess what I'm getting at is, so him and her, and then later Jerry Quill, I don't know if you know who that is. Also, younger dude, came up around the Stunt People time. He's become his own coordinator and choreographer in his own right. Super talented. Him and Cooper, who was a good friend of Dennis's in Georgia, and they had done stuff together. When they jumped on and said, hey, we want to help. We want to be a part of it, however we can. That's when I went, okay, I think this thing wants to get made.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of got me back into like a driving seat and like, okay, let me write the script really quick. I was stuck on page 23 for months. I couldn't write anything. And then that's what got me. And then like within a couple of weeks, I just wrote the whole thing. I said, look, I don't know if this is any good. And I sent it to a couple of people and they're like, no, this is funny. Let's do this. I was like, all right. And the process of making that movie, now I can totally see, has helped a lot. It was healing in a lot of ways because it was the project that I was going to do with him. I actually wrote a tribute in the story now.
Oh, sweet.
So like now Dennis is kind of in the movie without being in the movie. Like
That's cool. You could
he's
do
playing like the father of one of the characters who's always talking about his dad and how cool he was. He was a 90s action hero. And so I can use like, we made these fake posters of movies for Den, and we'll use clips like the one, you know. And so he's in it without being in it. And also, I think the biggest tribute more than anything was just seeing all these people come together
Yeah.
and be a part of it. And all these people that loved him, respected him, and they just wanted to be there. They just wanted to be there, man. And that was the big, I'd look around and be like, this is exactly what he would have loved to see, is all of us together. There was no jerks and to be seen, no jerk, no assholes. There's always some jerk or some asshole on every fucking set, you know?
Yeah.
And that fact that it was like, everyone here is cool. We're just here to do it. And we love doing it. And his spirit definitely was every day. We could feel it.
That's amazing.
There was even moments where it felt like he was communicating with us. There was a couple of moments I could pinpoint where I'm like, ooh, you know, including that triple kick. We were trying to replicate it, where his son was trying to replicate it. The guy playing his son, who didn't know him.
Oh, wow.
He's a younger stunt guy, very talented guy named Tom, and he didn't know Den, but you know, he watched all this stuff and was like, dude, this guy's incredible. Like, I can't move like that. There's no way I'm going to be able to move like that. Go, it's okay, because you're playing a son, and the whole point of your character is that you're always living in the shadow of your dad, and you know you're never going to be as good as him, but you'd love to pull off that one kick just once in your life, and then you get to do it at the end. Like, that's sort of the payoff. And we were shooting that scene. I guess I'm kind of spoiling it right now. But we were shooting that scene. It wasn't happening. Like, you know, for whatever reason. Like, this guy wasn't hitting the right mark. Or that guy wasn't hitting the right mark. He slipped. His foot didn't stretch right. And it's over and over and over again. And it was getting to the point where, like, do we have to give this up? And we ended up getting a take that was fine. It worked. Didn't look like that.
No.
But it was fine. And we're like, yeah, it's fine, right? We're all looking at each other like, yeah, okay, I guess let's move on, because we were running out of time.
Yeah.
And then a framed picture of I think it was like a map of the warehouse that we were shooting in, just randomly just falls off the wall, glass breaks everywhere. Like,
whoa,
out of nowhere. There was no wind.
Yeah.
No one walked by it. It just, and we all stopped and looked around, looked at each other, like, no, we got to keep getting it. We didn't get it. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. So we did it again and again and again. And then we finally got one that was actually pretty decent. Again, it's not as good as that, never will be, but it worked, you know? And we're like, yeah, that was definitely Dan being like, what are you doing? Like, that sucked. That can't be the end. So that we all felt it too. We all looked at each other. So, you know, yeah. So again, like, to answer your question, that's how I got through it. And I'm not through it. I'm never
Sure.
going to be through it.
Sure, I
and
get
it's
that.
like, it just comes in waves.
Yeah.
You know, I lost my mom to cancer in 2017. I lost a cousin to COVID in Peru in 2020. you know, these things go in waves.
Yeah.
You know, and but Den was like, you know, that's probably the toughest loss, honestly, because he was like, not only like a best friend, but he was like my brother. It's like my younger brother, and a creative collaborator, and Chico and Rico, and you know, we were just, yeah. So that was really, really. I'm probably never gonna get over that. I just think that's one of those things.
Man, that's the thing with life is
Yeah.
like how the longer you live, the more experiences like that, you
Yeah.
know, kind of grounds us.
Yeah.
We lost a friend of ours. His name was Anthony Robinson. He was part of like Micah's crew.
Okay.
He just had a massive heart attack helping someone move.
Oh wow.
And
Oh,
that was
wow.
it. He was in his late 30s.
Oh man. I'm sorry.
And he
He's young.
was part of the whole, you know, their video team and doing a bunch of stuff, wrote some stuff for me. And him and I were just becoming good friends. So like those things happen and it's just like,
Was he otherwise healthy, or did he
Yeah.
have health problems?
no, there was no
Yeah.
serious health problem.
That's what was crazy. Was like, you know, I mean, Den wasn't looking great in the sense that I know he was struggling with stress and anxiety and, you know, a little bit of depression, I think. But he never drank, he never smoked. You know, he was not, you know, overweight. You know, he was, you know, he was in great shape still, and he was young. He's
Yeah.
you know, like young, man. It's like 46. You know, so it's just he's the last person any of us thought that would happen to. You know, we were all, when it first happened, we were all in shock. We were all just going like, makes way more sense it is me. Like, you know,
Yeah.
all the times I've been in and out of the ER thinking I'm having a heart attack, like, you know.
I've done that a couple times. Yeah,
You
it's
know,
just like they're like, no, you just have a regular heartbeat.
You know, even Troy was like, oh, I thought it should have been me, you know. And it's like, dude, could have been any of us. It makes the least amount of sense that it was him, you know. But
it's something like when my dad passed away, like I didn't have the greatest childhood, but I realized later in life, going through a lot of therapy and my own personal journey, that he did the best he could
Right.
with what he had. He didn't have a good childhood, so it was
Yeah.
hard for him. He couldn't relate, didn't know how to love kids or be a parent. And I forgave him maybe about 7 years before he passed, and we had a really good relationship. But when he passed away, a lot of that kind of, all the things, because I forgave him and started seeing all the positive things that he did do, that he did try to do, started kind of like going like, oh, and it started becoming more a part of me. So I'm holding on to those things. And I'm not saying that, you know, everyone's different when they go through these things, but I hope that when next time you work on films, like you bring that energy from that you got with him,
oh yeah,
you know, into those.
absolutely. I feel like pretty much every movie from now on out that I make is going to be in some way dedicated to him. You know, Mary Magnum's definitely going to be, and if we ever make Chico and Rico, it definitely would be. I feel like almost anything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, well, I'm brainstorming an idea with Eric and Alvin,
Okay.
and yeah, and you know, that to me, that's going to be also dedicated to him. You know, like
Yeah,
I just feel
yeah.
like that's just the way it's going. Or at the very least, his spirit's going to always. He was always very encouraging. You know, he always was really good about telling you were awesome and like that you deserved stuff. He was always telling me. He told his other friends that. He was really good at that. He was really,
What's like the one thing that you really miss about him? I know there's many.
yeah. Having that guy who try not to get
Yeah. Take your time.
just having that person that I could talk to that really got me. Like there was just no, he just got me. Like I could just say whatever to him and he would be like, yeah. And you know, I have a certain, you know, my personality is like a tequila. It's like, it's not everybody's flavor, you know? It's harsh for some and great for others.
Mm-hmm.
And he just thought I was hilarious, and I missed that.
He
I
got
missed,
you.
I miss. Sometimes I say shit in a certain way, and people are like, "Oh my God, why are you saying that?" And he just think it was funny. he just thought I was funny. He understood where I was coming. He understood that I wasn't being mean. He just knew that that's how I talked. And I love that he would often say to me, I'd say something, whatever, and he'd go, "Oh, you got to put that in a movie, man. You got to put that in a movie. Write that down. Put that in a movie." You know, like that was just, I just miss having him to call. So many times I still have the instinct that I'm like, something happens and I want to call him and be like, dude, this just happened. Can you believe this shit? You know, or why is this person doing that? Or, you know, or I'll see something that I want to share with him, you know, and I'll say, oh yeah. So that's probably what I missed the most, is just being able to have someone to talk to that really, and you know, during the movie, I missed his eye. I missed him. I was like, we all kind of realized, we were like, there's things, if he had been there, that he would have come up with that none of us are going to think of. None of us. Not me, not Rob, not Eric, not Coop, not Quill, none of us. He just had a brain that had a certain, and he would take something and be like, and oftentimes I'd be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But every once in a while, like Mary Magnum, that's his name. He sent that, and I was like, hey, that's a cool name, you know? That's why that's always going to remind me of him. Or with action, how to shoot something. There's a scene in the opening of Mary Magnum where I knew I should have got this one shot. It's like an insert, you know, like somebody gets hit and then you should get an insert of them landing, reacting, turning, and leaving frame. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's like a real simple insert like that. I didn't get it. And then I was looking at the scene and I was going, I should have fucking got that. I should have fucking got that. And if Den had been there, he would have been like, you should get that. Yeah. You're going to need that. Just get this little moment so you can stitch together, and that kind of stuff too. Yeah,
that's,
you know,
man, that's hard. Thank you so much for.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing it up, because I think it's a big deal. Yeah. And people in the stunt industry, like, who knew him or knew of him, it reverberated. Like, it really did. I was impressed. I think that's one of the most beautiful things that came out of it, was just seeing how many people he affected. Like, really, truly affected. Yeah. You know? Because he was, I mean, I knew a side of him a lot of people didn't know. But he was somehow, despite having a lot of anger and resentments inside, he still somehow, unlike me, managed to be very diplomatic, very warm, very kind, make people feel like they're being heard and respected. Yeah. He was very good at that. I always kind of say that we were like John and Paul. He's Paul McCartney, I'm John Lennon. You know, I'm the biting one, and he was the one who was very diplomatic and like, hey, everybody, you know? Even though in the inside we had a lot of the same shit, you know, that we could relate to, and it was just the two of us walking around. Like, that was the other thing, like walking around and like being annoyed at the same shit. Yeah. Like, this leaf blower guy, does he have to, why, you know, the big loud engine guy who drives by, you know, that fucking asshole. This guy, really? Do we have to, this guy, you know? Like, we bonded on that kind of shit all the time, you know? Yeah, annoying people.
Man, it's hard losing a friend like that.
Yeah. The hardest thing that's ever happened to me. I mean.
Yeah. And I understand when you say that, because family members, they're all different categories of our lives. Yeah. And right when my dad passed away, I think it was maybe 3 weeks later, my dog passed away. And 14 and a half years. And I realized that I was more sad about that because, you know, it's personal. Like, I took care of her, would walk with her, do all those things. Sure. I realized that I was more connected, like attached. Yeah. Of course, my dad was more important, but for me, it was more about understanding the differences about those relationships and going like, oh, but yeah, it's,
yeah. I mean, my mom dying of cancer, that was rough. Yeah. But it was different for me. I had a kind of a strained relationship with my mom, and it was complicated. And, you know, it was definitely sad, and just, it's awful to see somebody that you care about wither away like that. But it was different. It's hard to explain. It just Den was such a core part of what I was, not only my life, but what I was doing, you know, that it was like the rug just got taken out from under, you know. And again, I know that this is how a lot of people who knew him felt. So I certainly can't claim him as my own, but
you could claim him as how it
he was
manifests with you. So
he was like my brother, man. So yeah, the brother I never really had, because I had brothers, but I was never super close to any of them, you know, because we had big age gap differences, and you know. Anyway, yeah.
So let's go into. I want to wrap this up.
Sure.
And normally when I wrap this up, there are a few kind of questions that are just kind of like staples what I normally do. And I think it's pretty telling about these. So one is like, what is the most difficult thing about what you do?
Oof. That's a good question. What is the most difficult thing about what I do? I mean, like the actual doing of it, or because I would, the first thing that comes to my mind is that it's hard to survive.
That's just go with that.
It's hard to survive. It's the not knowing when the next thing is coming, the not being able to sustain yourself doing things that you love, so you end up doing things that you are like whatever about, you know, and not knowing if you're gonna be broke or if you're gonna be doing good for a minute. Because there was a period of time where I was actually doing really well, and I remember looking at my bank account and being like, "Hey, all right, I'm doing okay," and then that disappeared. So there's that, and it's also, you know, living in LA and being surrounded by people in that business, man, it's really hard to have friends, like real friends. It's hard because everyone's focus is on that, and it's just not the way I'm built. You know?
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that vibe from you.
Yeah, and that was the thing with Dennis too.
Yeah.
Like that really, he had a hard time with it. He had a hard time with that part of it. He didn't want to play that game, and I kept telling him like, yeah, but you have to, otherwise doesn't matter how talented you are, if you're not playing the game, no one knows.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard because the people who tend to succeed tend to be people who are really good at playing the game, even though they might not be as talented as the other guy who isn't as good as playing the game, but is far more superior talent-wise. It's just the realization that, you know, deserve's got nothing to do with it. And I would tell Dennis that all the time, because he'd come at me with like, you deserve, da 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 da, and I'd be like, remember what William Money in Unforgiven said? Deserve's got nothing to do with it. I'd always say that to him. So that's probably my answer to that.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
And the opposite of that is like, what is your favorite thing about what you do?
Oh man, you know, a couple things. One, I kind of love being on set. I do when you got a good group. The Mary Magnum set was beautiful because it was like a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
But even on other sets I've been on, when you got a good crew and good group and there's just a good vibe, it's just beautiful. It's like there's something beautiful of composing a shot, talking to the DP, seeing it come to life, talking to the actors, planning a move, seeing it, just being there. There's something about that I really love.
I miss that so much.
Yeah,
man.
I love that. And then I'd say the next thing is when you're editing and it's starting to take shape. The first part of editing sucks. I hate it.
I do too.
Putting together this project, labeling it, having to build the assembly cut, oh, that's a drag. But once you have that and you start seeing it come to life, and now you're putting some music in there and you're going, oh man, that's also like, it's beautiful. It's like, wow, look at that. It's this thing that was an abstraction is now a reality, you know? And then I'd say getting to watch it, getting to show it to people, screening is great, you know? So those are like the three top things, you know? That's why I do it, for that feeling, you know?
And the last thing, and we could wrap on this, is if you weren't doing filmmaking, what other job or what other career would you be doing?
Man, I've been asking myself this question for the last 5 years.
Why, you trying to get out of filmmaking?
Yeah, I was. For so many times I was like, maybe I just got to get out of here and do something else with my life. You know, I kept thinking that, and I was like, what though? You know, what could I possibly do? I don't know. And I love animals, but I don't see myself getting a degree in veterinary medicine this late in the game. You know, but like I see people like out there swimming with whales, and I'm like, that sounds cool. I don't know. You know, a part of me feels like, you know, I would be a pretty good therapist, you know, because I like talking to people about their issues and helping them work them out. I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for many years, so it's a very helpful thing.
Yeah. And
sometimes I'm like, you know, I wonder if, because I have an ability to be able to see all sides of something without getting too invested on, you know, not to say that I'm biased all the time, but
Sure.
I can be. If I need to be objective with somebody, I can be. I thought maybe that, but again, that would require a degree of some kind. So I have no idea. I don't know. Like I said, my nightmare is busting out that Lyft sticker and putting it on my car, which I don't have a car right now. So this is a rental that I'm driving. Anyway, I don't know. That's a good question. And if I ever get a real good answer to it, I might just do it.
Well, it's interesting.
Wedding videographer?
Oh, you don't want to do that.
No.
No.
It makes good money.
It does, well, not as good as photographers.
Right. That's true.
Or at least photography wedding. But it's interesting. So DC Douglas, who is a voiceover actor who I did a podcast with, it was really interesting what he said. He's like, when he was in his 50s, he's also an actor as well. He had the crew cut, and they were looking, not a crew cut, but just short hair, kind of looking very professional. And he said a lot of the agencies and casting was looking for people overweight, kind of like dad bod kind of thing. And he's just like, well, I don't want to become unhealthy just to get work. He's like, no, I'm going to grow out my hair. I want to do all these things. And he goes, so that's what I did. And next thing I know, people start calling for that role. He's like, I'm playing like a lead gangster in this one film and this other thing. And I'm like,
He looked familiar to me. I kept wondering why he looked familiar.
and it's so cool because now he's like, you know, this is something that I tried to become when I first moved out here. 40 years later, I'm now that person.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that. I was going, you know, maybe now that I'm in my 50s, I could start thinking about acting now. Because I didn't want to act professionally when I was younger because I just was like, I'm going to get cast in all this shit I don't want to be. I don't want to be, you know, the thug. I don't want to be the this. I don't want to be, you know, especially when I was coming up, I was very limited in what they would put me in, you know, and I just don't want, but now, older, maybe I'll have more options to do more interesting things, you know? So
Yeah.
I've thought about that. And in fact, talking to Eric and Alvin yesterday, I told them that I still wanted to do something with the Rico character. I didn't want to abandon that character and that idea. And I'd still like to play him one more time, at least in a short. And I was basically asking if they'd help me.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you
Dude,
know, let's do it. So
I think that's right up Eric's alley too.
yeah.
And-
Well, in fact, I'm thinking the idea that I have is that Eric is sort of the tryout replacement for Chico. And he's wearing the sombrero and the poncho, but he just doesn't measure up. And he's always tripping over himself and can't see over the hat. And, you know, and Rico's always disappointed. And I was like, that could be funny, a funny dynamic. And, you know, and again, another kind of loving tribute to Den. You know?
Yeah.
And I would like to play this character again and, you know, do something with it. So he's like, I'm game, man. I'm down, you know, and Alvin's like down to choreograph it. And because that was the other thing too. He sent me a guy named Sam Lee. I think his name's Sam Lee. Some kind of big guy who primarily Korean actor who does boxing.
Oh, wow.
And he takes on martial artist dudes, but he just uses boxing. And I was like, I could do that as Rico, like, you know, and he was like, yeah, let's do that. So maybe, you know, we'll see where that goes. I would like to do that. Like I said, I got this other project I'm working with them for them to be in. I'm going to finish Mary Magnum and just kind of see where it all lands. God, I don't know. Because part of me is like, am I going to leave LA? I don't know, maybe. We'll see, you know? We'll see where it goes. I feel like Mary Magnum, though, is going to open some doors.
And I can't wait. So how long until it's ready?
Good question. Sooner than later, hopefully. The only thing that could slow me down is if I get another gig that might be coming up.
Sure.
Just another, you know, gig for money, you know, and an opportunity to travel again. If that gig comes through, then, you know, I might have to take a hiatus for like a month and a half or something. But other than that, my goal is to just finish this movie as soon as possible. I want to get it out there. I do. I want to get it done. I want to have a screening. I want to get it because the guy who technically owns it, who paid for it, he gets his movies on all the platforms. So it'll be on Prime. It'll be on Tubi. You know, be on Pluto probably or Plex or one of those. You know.
So you have a whole distribution behind it?
He does. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for that, man.
Yeah, I know. I don't get any back end, but I told everybody this. I go, look, he owns the movie.
Yeah.
But we own what it is.
Yeah.
Like that's our shit. We did it. So he can't own that. And that's how I looked at it. Like we have to just look at it like that.
Yeah, you have to. It's that balance.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll see how it goes.
Man, well, I hope it's a good experience. And then, you know.
My name's not Manuel.
Did I say that?
Sorry, because that was a Dennis moment. So like I would say that a lot where I'd go like, Manuel, you know, and he'd go, my name's not Manuel. And I'd be like, and I would do the same thing you did. I'd go, what?
No, it's funny because I'm going like, did I just like say that so fast? But I guess I did.
And I,
And thank you. I love those quick comments and picking up on those things.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
yeah, I know. Like I said, that was the first opportunity I've had to do it. Because normally he always got me with that. Because I wouldn't think about it. I was just like, yeah, man, well. And he's like, my name's not Manuel.
I hear it. I hear it now. And when I'm editing, I'm going to hear it all the time. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Something that really screwed me up in college, psychology class. You
Yeah.
had to go take these tests where you go to a psychology test and you go in and they would be like, all right, so for this test, we're going to do it like this. So they put a tape recorder with cassette around my neck and they go, all right, Rorschach kind of cards. They go, just tell us what you think of these. Describe them. They play the tape back and they go, you hear that? Yeah. I go, well, you're stuttering. I'm like, what? I'm stuttering? I go, yeah, you're stuttering right here. I'm like, I'm not. In my mind, I'm going like, fuck you, first of all. That's what's going on in my mind. So then they go, okay, so we're going to do this again. Now that you know that you stutter, try to do something a little better. Okay. I go back in there next time. They show me the Rorschach and I was angry. And I was 19 at the time. So they're going, what is this? I'm like, that's your father. You know, and I was just like, I get angry and angry. I was from New Jersey, so I was just a prick. And then by the end, they go, okay, that's interesting. They take it off and they go, actually, this test had nothing to do with stutter. We wanted to see how you reacted to saying that you stuttered.
Interesting.
I was like, you fuckers, like that just like you took it to another level.
They got in your head, yeah.
Emotionally, I was not prepared for that at that
Yeah.
age. So, but it affected me. So I've slowed down my speaking greatly after that.
Okay.
And I'm not perfect. My grammar is not even well done.
Well, I hope that didn't come off like I was making some comment on your speech.
No.
Yeah.
It's funny when you said that because I tend to kind of go into a place where I try to slow down.
Yeah.
And when I get excited, I do that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's perfectly normal to say, yeah, man, well, I think it's totally normal. I
Dude,
never
that's
thought
in my
about
brain now.
I know. I never
Oh.
thought about it until Dan would always call me out and go like,
And I wasn't saying that to make you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
It was just, it's interesting. When I heard that, I was like, oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, that is funny. That is funny.
It is funny. So thank you for saying that. And thank
Yeah.
you for coming out here.
No, man, thank you for doing this. It was great. I'm glad we got to. I know we've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I just felt like after shooting Mary Magnum, it would have been better than before. And hopefully, you'll be seeing a trailer soon. And, I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to be a fan.
think so, too.
I think you're going to be a fan.
Yeah.
Because if you like all my old stuff, this is like right up that alley.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah.
It's so great meeting you too. It's been
Yeah, we haven't met in person.
Never.
Yeah, that's right. It's great. Yeah,
it's
dude.
been wonderful to know Eric, Ray, and just see your work and all of them kind of coming together. And, for everything that you guys have done together, it's so beautiful to still see you guys working together.
Yeah.
Even though
and-
like Eric is doing his thing in Vegas.
Yeah.
But you still come together. So I'm
Well,
excited.
and I think that we're going to come together more now.
Yeah,
Again.
it should.
Yeah, we are.
Well, thanks, Jose.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Thank you, Jose, for bringing your trademark humor and honestly, some real tequila energy to the show. Jose, you make this filmmaking world a lot more fun to watch. And if you want to keep up with Jose, follow him on Instagram and check out his YouTube channel for fresh projects and wild stories. Those links are right below in the description. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell. And share it with your friends to help more creative minds discover these stories. Your support truly does make a difference. And if you want to know more of my work, visit talentfreaks.com, where you can explore some of my video work as well as my current passion for photography. If you have ideas or guests that you'd like to see on the show, don't hesitate to reach out or leave in the comments. I love bringing fresh perspectives to the podcast. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and stay curious.